So, sloth is one of the 7 deadly sins that perhaps you've heard of, which is basically another word for spiritual laziness. And it is one of the daughters of pride, right? It has to do with us choosing that our way is better than submitting to a certain structure or habit that may be good and lead to good habits. So, sloth has a lot of different dangers. For me, over the last 2 weeks, so standardly every single morning, I wake up about an hour earlier than I have to in order to spend time with God, praying, journaling, reading the Bible, doing whatever. And for the last 2 weeks, I've done very poorly at getting up. And it's been interesting to see how it's affected my daily life. Because when I'm encountering God first thing in the morning and I'm taking that time to spend with Him, then the fruits of the Spirit are a lot more apparent in my day-to-day life. I exemplify more love and joy and grace and self-control, all of those things, and being able to moderate what I do. And when I don't do that, I get more irritable and more easily angered, and I don't show love as well as when I am actively not, when I have that zeal. So the dangers of sloth, they're so real because we have to look at our lives and know that we could be gone, we could die any moment. So our salvation is at hand. And granted, God has grace, and if we're in His graces and we're moving forward, then He's going to work with us. Catholic perspective would be, with purgatory, we may just extend our time there during the purification process if we're not actively pursuing Him. But it's also because we have a sense of urgency. We have a duty and a responsibility to those who don't know Christ at all. And we have a responsibility to bring that truth. And as a Catholic, it's my responsibility, and I have to have a sense of urgency to help people understand the importance of the body and blood of Christ in the Eucharist and communion and what that actually means and the fullness of that. I mean, in the Bible, you talk about asking, seeking, knocking, and how God's going to judge us based off of our actions and the good that we do. In Matthew 25, which was one of the readings today at church in Mass, it talks about how, Christ says, whatever you do for the least of these, you've done for me. And that, I was a stranger, you did not welcome me. Naked, you did not clothe me. Sick and in prison, and you did not visit me. And He says, whatever you did for the least of these, and then you did for me. And they will go into eternal punishment, but the righteous will go into eternal life. So this is showing that God is going to look at us not based off of necessarily every prayer that we do or based off of every chapter of the Bible that we read, but He's gonna base us off of our actions and for our spiritual journey in order to truly exemplify that, because in Psalm it talks about how there is no good work apart from God, how our good works apart from God are like filthy rags. But when we look at accepting the grace of God, asking for it, finding it, and then receiving it, ask, seek, and knock, and we will receive, then we're able to exemplify exactly what it is that Christ wants us to. And then we get out of that cycle of sloth. We get out of that cycle of spiritual lethargy and laziness. And we go forward, and we have a zeal. We have a sense of urgency. We know our mission. And that's one of the biggest things. I'm listening to Father Barron, right? Getting that sense of urgency. And when we look at Mary making forward with haste, that she went to visit Elizabeth after she was told that she was going to bear the son and he was going to be the Son of God. And having that as our foundation, knowing that it is up to us to be that example and be that person, not only for ourselves, but for all those around us, because the salvation of all others, it comes down to us. We're the ones that have to share that. And we're the ones that have to exemplify that and show why it's worthwhile, because it's worthwhile because of that joy that we receive and the love that we feel and that fulfillment and that purpose. And we need to be able to acknowledge that and see it and feel it and be able to share that with others so that they can too feel encouraged, and that the level of laziness or just tired, that not feeling motivated to go forward, God gives a grace for that, and God can give us that. So I mean, yeah, hell's real, and heaven's real, and we have a choice on which way we want to go, and sloth will not get us there. So we need to be fervent and persistent and consistent in pursuing God as He's pursuing us, and accepting that pursuit and going forward with Him in that. So I hope this is encouraging. Spend time with God, ask for His grace, ask for His love. He will give it to you, and keep going back to Mass, keep seeing Him in the Eucharist, and we'll go forward and continue to fight this good battle, and continue to see God and continue to see Him work in our lives. So have a blessed Sunday, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks.